Alright, we're going to talk about board shape and layers. There are two things we're going to deal with in this lecture. The board shape is going to be the actual shape of the design. Okay, it'll be the actual shape of our design. We can change our board shape at any time. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Here's the current shape of our board. I can highlight all my parts at once. I can move my parts around, whatever size I think I need. And then I can alter the shape of my board. Let's see how we can alter the shape of our board. The first thing I'll want to do is set my origin. Again, when I move my mouse around on the bottom left corner here, you can see the dimensions, right? It's going to show me where I'm at on my grid. So I'm going to come up here to my top toolbar where it says Utility Tools right here. Click on it. You'll see the little crosshair. It says Set Origin. I'm going to set my origin. I can come down here. I'll zoom in. It's a little more accurate with my mouse if I zoom in. You'll see right now if I look, when I put my mouse at the corner of the current board shape, there at the bottom, it says I'm 1 inch by 1 inch, 1,000 mils by 1,000 mils. I'm going to click there and set my origin. There's my origin point, and now you'll see my origin is 0 mils by 0 mils. That just sets my origin and gives me a good reference to work from. Let's zoom out again, and now I'm going to come in here. We're going to look at changing our board shape. How do I change my board shape? If I go to Design in my toolbars, under Board Shape, this will say Redefined Board Shape. So I'm going to tell it, yes, I want to redefine my board shape. Click. You'll see my whole board shape goes away. Here's my origin. I'm going to start drawing at my origin, so I'll zoom in here. And I'll click, one click, and here comes my board shape. You can see where I can draw now. So I'll zoom out. I can zoom out and say, well, how high up do I need to go? Here's my power connector, and if I look at the very bottom of my screen, it says my Y is at 1380. Well, maybe I'll make it 1400. Right, 1400. What happens if I go to 1500? I'm up here. Oh, that'll work too. So let's come over here. I want to move my mouse until I'm at X is 0 and Y is 1500. Somewhere up here, right around there. So let me zoom in, put my mouse right here. I look at the bottom corner. I have 0 mils on my X and 1500 on my Y. I left click. I'm going to zoom back out again and see how far over do I want to go. Right around here somewhere. What do I have on my X? 3885, right? 3900. So I can go to 3900. That'll work. So to do that, I want to go to 3900 by 1500. So my Y will go to 15. Here's my X, 3900, my Y, 1475. There, 3900 by 1500. I click again. And we'll see I have 2 of my vertices set. So let's come down. I can go to 0 by 3900. Click. And I want to show you that you can make the shape anything you want. I'm going to come over here, right in here, and zoom in a little bit. I'm going to click on that spot right there. My X is 3600. And I'm going to come up 100 mils and click. Go over 100 mils and click, and come down to 100 mils again and click. And then I'll come all the way back to my origin. Alright, there's my origin. I'll click on my origin. Now when I'm done, I can hit escape or right click, and it changes my board shape. Let's save and zoom out, and lo and behold, look, there's the notch I cut in my board. There is going to be no PCB there. You might want to do that. In some cases, you're going to have a box that this board will fit in, and there might be a notch in the box, and by putting the notch in your board, you can align your board in the box. This is just an example. Alright, there's board shape and also our origin. You can see the origin mark. Let's talk about layers, because that's going to become very important in our board. Look at the very bottom. We have all these tools down here. We have all these tabs. We have top layer, bottom layer, mechanical layers, overlay, bottom solder, keep out layer. We have a lot of layers. And what do these layers mean? Well, I'm going to show you a place where you can look at layers so you can understand. Under design, we have a layer stack manager. I'm going to click layer stack manager. Here's a nice graphic of a printed circuit board. Here's a little fiberglass layer that sits in the middle. There's copper on the top. Here's a trace on the top. There's copper on the bottom. There's some traces on the bottom. Here's a hole that goes through the board that's been plated with copper. And if we look, we'll see the names. Top layer. And it says top layer down here. Bottom layer. Bottom layer down here. Here it's a red and here it's blue. So we have some layers. We're going to start seeing these layers show up so we can get used to them. One thing you'll want to do if you're going to have your board produced off campus is to turn on the dielectrics. Now watch when I click this box here. You'll see it makes it green. I've now covered my copper and the fiberglass with a green layer that protects the metal except where I'm going to solder. Notice that these holes where parts go through, there's no green. This is called a dielectric layer. It protects your board. You've seen it on lots of boards. The ones from SparkFun are red. The standard color is green. I'm going to turn on my dielectric layers so I have them available when I ship my board off. So we can see layers. Top layer, bottom layer. I'm going to tell it OK. I'll save my PCB. And there's some other layers. There's one called a keep out layer. We need the keep out layer for a couple of reasons. The keep out layer is going to tell Altium you can't route past this line. So it would be possible for me to draw a square in here somewhere and tell Altium don't route here. That might be important if I have a little wireless device here with an antenna and I don't want copper underneath my antenna. It also is going to tell our milling machine here on campus the shape of our board. It uses the keep out layer as the shape of the board. So I'm going to highlight here, keep out layer. I'm going to come up here to place, and I'm going to tell it to place a line. And we're going to just go right around the edge of our board again. So I'll zoom out, click here. You'll see the color matches the color on the tab. I'm just going to draw all across my board here the shape of my board, including the notch. If I wanted that notch to be cut out of my board, especially here on campus, I need to make sure my keep out layer is drawn in. Now we'll come all the way across here again. I'll click there, right click to finish placing our line. I can zoom out, and I'll show you if there was some reason I needed to. I could come up here and draw a box right here. It's kind of useless in this project, but we can do it for an example. I'm just going to draw a little box here that's going to be a keep out layer box. I'll save. As long as I have this box here, Altium will not route any copper inside this space. That's what the keep out's made for. I have a box here, which is the outside, which says I can route up to here and then I can't route anymore. Of course, it won't go past the end of the board anyway, but if you don't put the definition there, generally the router will fail because it'll come to the edge of the board and it won't see the edge of the board. It doesn't see the keep out line. So place your keep out lines. I'm going to save. Zoom out. So now I have keep out. See, the keep out layer is this kind of purple color. The top layer is kind of red. I want to show you something. I'm going to double click on my keep out line. And here it tells me what I have. It tells me the width, the locations, where it stops, where it starts, and it has layer, keep out layer. If I change that layer and tell it top layer, tell it OK, you'll see now that my keep out line is red. I've just actually placed copper on top of my board by designating that as a top layer. I'll undo that and put it back to the keep out layer. So be aware you can change anything's layer at any time just by clicking on it. Also, I want to show you my parts. What if I wanted a part to be on the bottom of the board? Say I wanted this capacitor right here to be on the bottom. If I double click on my capacitor and get the properties, here's his component, properties, top layer. I can select bottom layer. Tell it OK. You'll see now that my part is on the bottom. And look at my designator. My designator is backwards now. It's mirrored. And why is that? Because we're looking at the board from the top. We're looking through the board and we see the writing on the back. Of course, if you flip the board over, it'll flip the writing over and it'll look correct. So just be aware that you put a part on the bottom, the text is going to look backwards. So there's a quick introduction to our board shape and our layers, and we're going to see these layers as we keep going. I'm going to add some more layers in our next video, and you'll see about routing, see the copper traces on the top. We'll see about adding planes and adding internal signal layers and removing them, and then we'll also look at changing some of the rules that we have, because the Altium has rules, and we'll go and edit the rules, and we can change the width of our traces, the spacing of our traces. So let's do a fit, save all, and we'll finish this video.